Interesting stuff. Okay. How are we doing with Alistair's approval rating? Not bad. He's... yeah, plus 15. Neutral. Neutral. I can work with that. Alright. Since Morrigan doesn't want to talk to us yet, we're just gonna move on. We're gonna be ending this session soon, guys, but I at least wanted to make my way towards... oh, towards Lothering. Looks like we didn't quite make it to Lothering yet. Oh. Meanwhile, back in Denerim.
And I expect each of you to supply these men. We must rebuild what was lost at Ostagar, and quickly. There are those who would take advantage of our weakened state if we let them. We must defeat this Darkspawn incursion, but we must do so sensibly and without hesitation.
Your lordship, if I might speak. You have declared yourself Queen Anora's regent, and claim we must unite under your banner for our own good. But what of the army lost at Ostagar? Your withdrawal was most... fortuitous.
Everything I have done has been to secure Ferelden's independence. I have not shirked my duty to the throne, and neither will any of you!
The Banorn will not bow to you simply because you demand it.
Understand this. I will brook no threat to this nation from you or anyone.
Bantegan, please!
Your Majesty, your father risks civil war. If Eamon were here...
Bantegan, my father is doing what is best.
Did he also do what was best for your husband, Your Majesty?
Oh. Ooh. Man. Hey, puppy! Puppy! Wait, I recognize this puppy. This big puppy. What is it, boy? Ooh. Thanks a lot, puppy. Alright, let's see if we can take these guys down. Sick 'em, Al. Meanwhile, yeah, I'll sick him too. And let's take control of Morrigan.
They'll never know what hit him.
Weapons. Yeah, let's disorient. Actually, vulnerability X. And disorient. And place him down. Oh yeah. Out of my way.
It's either you or me, and it isn't going to be me.
I shall do it.
Morrigan, you need to... yeah, you'll need to be a damager, I guess. And stay ranged for me. Thank you, honey.
Weapons ready.
Heal up, Alistair.
Fear is your weakness.
These Darkspawn are no match for us. There we go. Hey, he wags his tail happily and pants. I think this is the Mabari I helped cure back at Ostagar.
I think he was out there looking for you. He's chosen you. Mabari are like that. They call it imprinting.
Oh, that's
Does
right.
this mean we're going to have this mangy beast following us about now? Wonderful.
He's not mangy.
I've always wanted a dog like this. Maybe it's meant to be. Aww. Oh boy, we get our own Mabari Hound. So, as a homage to my previous character that was named Angelus, we are going to name this Mabari Hound Sky. Yes. Yes. Awesome. Sky it is.
Right.
Ooh, there's an awful lot of good stuff here. Small clear, fire crystal, death root, and an elf fruit.
Let's get started.
Sweet. Let's chat with our new furry friend. He bounces around you, barking excitedly. Do you see anything interesting? He barks excitedly and runs off. Sky comes running up with you with a tangled ball of woolen yarn. The ends are trailing in the dust behind him. Oh, thanks. I've got a... Where is that? Tangled ball of yarn. Tangled ball of gray-brown woolen yarn. It is still slimy from having been in the Mabari's mouth. Thank you, Sky. Let's see. Do you see anything else interesting? He barks. Sky has brought you an item. Cool. What you got now, boy? Not really sure what it is. What did you bring me? No, really, what did you bring me? I have no idea. Nope, I have no idea. Oh well, I guess it's not too important. Sky relieves himself on an inconspicuous area nearby. See anything else interesting? Sky seems to have found a slightly dirty pair of silk pantaloons. Thanks, boy. That's... Aha! One can never have too many pairs of pantaloons. He bounces around, barking happily. Oh, Sky. You are too cute. Sky doesn't seem to have found anything. Okay, well that's it. That's fine. Let's go. Can you do something about this gory mess? Sky barks happily. Hooray, we're clean! Or I'm clean, at least. Sky relieves himself in an inconspicuous area nearby. Pet Sky. He rolls around happily on his back. Oh, such a good doggy you are. Such a good doggy. Yes, you are. Can I equip him with anything? Do I have any of those, not sure if I... No, I don't have any of the collars or caddis paints or whatever you call them. Morrigan, can I talk to you now, honey?
What do you wish of me?
I'd like to ask you something.
If you must.
Is Flemeth really what she seems to be?
Well, that depends, does it not? What does she seem to be?
A nutty old bat?
Sometimes I do wonder the very same thing. Tell me, how much do you know of the tale? The one that the chastened still tell of my mother, to frighten them into obedience.
I didn't even know there was such a thing.
Ah, I see. That does explain much. I can relay what Flemeth once told me herself, and you can decide whether or not 'tis the truth, if you desire.
That does sound interesting.
As the tale is sung by the bards, There was a time when Flemeth was young and beautiful, a fair lass in a land of barbarian men, the desire of any who saw her.
Just how long ago is this?
Many centuries, before this land was even named Ferelden.
Wow.
The tales say that Flemeth fell in love with Osen the Bard, and fled the castle of her husband, the dread Lord Conabar, and that he swore vengeance for her infidelity. In truth, my mother claims that 'twas Osen who was her husband, and Conabar the jealous lord who looked on from afar. Lord Conabar approached young Osen and offered him wealth and power in exchange for his lovely wife, and Osen agreed.
Flemeth must have been angry.
The life of a bard is a poor one, and love fades in the wake of hunger. 'Twas Flemeth who suggested the arrangement.
Really?
All would have been well had Lord Conabar kept his end of the bargain. But he was a foul man who bargained with coin he did not possess. Osen was led off to a field and slain, left for dead. Flemeth spoke to the spirits and learned of the deed, and swore revenge.
Wow. So she truly loved Osen then?
That was not the point. Conabar had no honor, so she would not have him. Flemeth begged the spirits to aid her, and 'twas they who slew Conabar. The demon the legend tells of came later. Lord Conabar's allies chased Flemeth, you see, chased her to the wilds, and there she hid. There she found the demon, and he made her strong. The legends all speak of the great hero Cormac, he who defeated Flemeth and her great army when she invaded the lowlands centuries later. All lies.
Really? Which? She never invaded, or he never defeated her?
The truth of the matter is that there was never an invasion. As Flemeth tells it, the Chastened never raised an army under her banner, and she never fought with any warrior named Cormac. Cormac led a brutal civil war against his own people, and later claimed it was to vanquish evil that had taken root amongst the lords. Thus, he was hailed a hero.
Interesting.
Flemeth was only attached to the legend much later. Perhaps 'twas due to the great war with the Chastened that eventually came, but Mother claims not to know how it began.
That does make sense, I have to say. Do you believe her version?
I do not believe everything that Flemeth claims. Oft it seems her bitterness has coloured her memories. But on the whole, yes, I believe this tale, if not all.
How is it that Flemeth has survived for so long?
The demon within her has transformed her into something else. An abomination, perhaps some would say. I know not. I only know my mother is clever, and she is part of the wilds as it is part of her. But she is no immortal. She bleeds. A blade in her heart would kill her like any other, were it lucky enough to find her.
The legend tells of Flemeth having many daughters?
You ask if I have sisters. I have asked of this myself. The stories tell of many witches of the wilds after all, not just the one, and these tales existed long before I did. Flemeth refuses to speak of other daughters, if they existed, so should I believe I am her first? I doubt that too.
Why would she refuse to speak of them?
The Chastened tell of a falling out between Flemeth and her daughters. They say that one day she hunted them all through the wilds and ate their hearts. It may be true. I have never seen another witch or heard of one. Perhaps one day Flemeth will eat my heart as well.
I love how calmly Morrigan says that, which only speaks about her really interesting personality. An interesting story. Thank you.
Flemeth tells it with far more embellishment than I, but you are welcome. Dare I ask of your own mother? Few are abominations of legend, 'tis true, but I find myself curious nevertheless.
My mother? Well, my mother died when I was born.
Ah, then you have my sympathies for what it is worth. Which is very little, I am certain. It matters not. Let us move on.
Well, I appreciate your sympathies, Morrigan. Thank you.
What do you wish of me?
I'd like to ask you something. You had a very good, interesting tale. I'd like to keep talking to you.
If you must.
Did you grow up in the Korkari wilds?
Why do you ask me such questions? I do not probe you for pointless information, do I?
Well, I mean, I'm curious. What's wrong with that?
Any number of cats could inform you of the answer to that question, but have it your way. What is it you asked? If I grew up in the wilds? A curious question. Where else would you picture me? For many years it was simply Flemeth and I. The wilds and its creatures were more real to me than Flemeth's tales of the world of man. In time I grew curious. I left the wilds to explore what lay beyond, never for long. Brief forays into a civilized wilderness.
And you remained unnoticed?
For the most part. Flemeth taught me well. For all that I had been taught, however, the truth of the civilized lands proved to be overwhelming. I was unfamiliar with so much. So confident and bold was I, yet there was much that Flemeth could never have prepared me for.
I can just imagine.
I rather doubt that. Only once was I accused of being a witch of the wilds, and that by a chastened who happened to be travelling with a merchant caravan. He pointed and gasped, and began shouting in his strange language, and most assumed he was casting some curse upon me. I acted the terrified girl, and naturally, he was arrested.
Whoa. That was quick thinking.
Men are always willing to believe two things about a woman. One, that she is weak, and two, that she finds him attractive. I played the weakling and battered my eyelashes at the captain of the guard. Child's play. The point being that I was able to move through human lands fairly easily. Whatever humans think a witch of the wild looks like, 'tis not I. Not that I did not have trouble. There are things about human society which have always puzzled me, such as the touching. Why all the touching for a simple greeting?
Touching? Like a handshake?
To begin with, yes. What is the point of touching my hand? I find it an offensive intrusion. There were many nuances that Flemeth could never tell me of. When to look into another's eyes. How to eat at a table. How to bargain without offending. None of these things I knew. I still do not understand it all, truth be told, but then I gave up long ago any hope of doing so. When I returned to the wilds last, I swore to Flemeth that I had no intention of leaving again.
Morrigan is really a very, very interesting and deep character. Angelus is definitely enjoying talking with her. She's very, very interesting. Yet you are here.
Yes, here I am. Well, let's get on with it before the ground opens up and swallows us, yes?
Nice, Morrigan approves of us.
What do you wish of me?
I'd like to ask you something.
If you must.
Let's keep talking with Morrigan until we've pretty much exhausted everything we can talk to her about. How did you become a shape changer?
I was not born such. 'Tis a skill of Flemeth's, taught over many years in the wilds. The chastened have tales of we witches, saying that we assume the forms of creatures to watch them from hiding. When a child is alone and separate from his tribe, that is when we strike, dragging the young boy kicking and screaming to our lair to be devoured. A most amusing legend.
But it's just a legend, right?
So I assume. My mother has walked the wilds far longer than I. Who am I to suggest what things she has done and not done in her past? Why do you ask? Is there something specific you wish to know?
I've just never heard of magic like that before.
No? 'Tis not unheard of in the remote corners of the world. There are traditions of magic outside of the Circle of Magi, despite what those mages would have you believe. Some of these traditions are old, indeed passed down as carefully guarded lore from one generation to the next. The zealots of the Chantry would uproot all such practitioners if they could, but as luck have it, some still exist. My mother is such a one.
Well, that's good. Such traditions need to be preserved.
I am surprised you think so. Still, 'tis a pleasant thing to hear.
Can you change into another human forms as well?
The form of an animal is different from my own. One may study the creature, learn to move as it does, think as it does. In time, this allows one to become as it is. I gain nothing by studying another human. I already am the same as they are. I learn nothing. So the answer is no, my human form is the only one I possess.
That is a very clever way of BioWare explaining why, even though Morrigan can shape change into other creatures, that she can't shape change into other humans. That is quite a decent explanation, I think. Can anyone become a shape changer?
Anyone with sufficient will, but the act of transformation is a magical one. 'Tis a spell and thus requires a mage's talents. If you had a notion to learn such a skill for yourself, sadly, you must remain disappointed.
Do you spend a lot of time as an animal?
There were nights when the wilds called to me, 'tis true. You look upon the world around you and you think you know it well. I have smelled it as a wolf, listened as a cat, prowled shadows that you never dreamed existed. But my life is as a human. I am under no illusions to the contrary.
And what do the other animals think of you when you're changed?
They do not shy away from me. To their senses, I believe I seem like any other of their species. As to what they think, I truly cannot say. Just as I am still human, no matter my form, they are still animals. Thus they cannot speak, even were I to ask.
Very interesting stuff. Well, that's all I wanted to ask.
Indeed. Have you an opinion on my abilities, then? Am I an unnatural abomination to be put to the torch?
No, not at all. I think your abilities sound quite useful.
Oh, you're simply full of surprises, little man, aren't you? But enough of such talk. Let us proceed, lest the dust gather on us.
Wow, Morrigan really approves of us.
What do you wish of me?
I'd like to ask you something.
If you must.
I think we have, have you ever been hunted by the Chantry?
You are very cute to ask so many questions.
Wait, what? Nah, I think Morrigan's trying to flirt with me, and I don't want her to give her the wrong idea. You don't have to answer if you don't want to.
Of course I don't. 'Tis no matter. My mother has been hunted from time to time, yes, by Templar fools like Alistair, which should tell you how successful they generally were. Flemeth made a bit of a game of it, in fact. The Templars would come again, and she would look at me and smile and say that the fun was to begin once more.
I feel sorry for the Templars.
They came with as much swagger and arrogance as they did self-righteousness. Pity them if you wish, for they held none for us. Flemeth would warn them once. 'Twas a warning they inevitably failed to heed. And then the true game began. Often Flemeth would use me as bait, a little girl to scream and run and lure the Templars deeper into the wilds and to their doom.
Wow. Flemeth used you as bait?
'Twas a game, and I a young girl. If I didn't get to play, I would have been very upset. Thankfully, the wilds is a vast place. Once they found us, Flemeth would simply move us elsewhere, and we would be lost within the forest once again. I did not understand the danger we faced until I was much older. I had never heard of apostates or maleficarum.
What exactly is an apostate?
You do not know? The Zealots use that word for any magic they do not control. The Chantry sees any mages not leashed to the Circle of Magi as apostates. And apostates could become Maleficarum, evil mages that resort to blood magic and become demon-enslaved abominations.
I see.
It may even be true. Still, those of us who prefer freedom see no reason to submit.
I guess if I were a mage, I might think the same.
Thank you for small favours, then, at the very least. Enough of this talk. Let us return to the task at hand.
Oh, Morrigan disapproves. Well, that conversation didn't go as well.
What do you wish of me?
I'd like
if
to
you
ask you of
must.
something. Can you teach others to become shape-changers?
I cannot teach you, no. But any other mages that cared to learn, yes, I could do that.
Cool.
Send whoever you wish my way, and I shall teach them what I can in the camp, provided they possess the will to even make the attempt.
Great. Awesome. Alright guys, this is quite a lengthy session. You know, the first half was pretty much all combat, and the second half was all talking, so hope you guys have been enjoying this LP, and until next time, love yourselves, and love each other.